Hey guys, what's up? Hope everybody's doing well. I am doing great. I wanted to hop on here and do a video, speak on something that recently just happened, which is the Charlie Kirk assassination. Now, I've only seen a couple of clips of Charlie Kirk, and I thought he was well spoken. I did think that he made some good points, but on the same token, I don't necessarily agree with everything that he said either. And that is a big part of me reading the Bible now. And I think I'm on Malachi. I think right around there, right before Matthew. I'm approaching Matthew, which I started on before and then went back, and I'm not reading it in order. So anyway, I started reading the Bible because of things like Charlie Kirk that I had listened to in the past, and I wanted to know the things that they were debating and where this was coming from and who had a valid point and who was just standing up to argue and being in their ego. There's a lot of different things at play when people do things like that. I admire Candace Owen for a lot of things that she says and does, but at the same time, I still have a certain stance on people being in their ego. And I feel like when they have platforms like that, it's hard to not be in your ego because you're arguing right and wrong. It's like a definitive thing. It's not ever like a let's agree to disagree, or I feel like somebody's always ending up being disrespectful or disrespected. And whether they're trying to or not, I feel like in those kinds of debates, people always walk away feeling disrespected. So it's touchy. It's very touchy. That's a good way to put it for me. It's a touchy subject when people start arguing about the Bible and their beliefs or their gender or race or things that are very deep rooted in their ancestry or in their personal identification. They're very convicted by it. And I know that I speak on some of these things, but I am not at the point where I would go out and debate, and I probably wouldn't ever do that. So I think if anyone ever posts something controversial or confrontational in my comments, I just don't answer. I appreciate it. Thank you. You're driving my engagement up, whether it's good or bad. You're still pushing my content out into the algorithm. So for that, I appreciate it. And you generated a view. So thank you. But when it comes to those debates and things like that, I feel like it's feeding into our fear-based, lower density 3D existence. And I want us to get out of that. So it's very sad to be watching America, or just the whole, anyone that was invested in watching that tragedy or seeing the trickle down, or empathizing with and sympathizing with his wife and the children involved and the people that were present for that assassination. I think that we all feel that sadness, whether we have our own sadness from it or not. You can, at a certain level, feel it for yourself just in having heard about it. So, my condolences, and for sure, I'm not lost on the sadness. It is a very sad thing. I also don't think that people should not be able to disagree and, still shake on it and walk away and be pleasant about each other and the exchange and how you can learn from each other, even if you don't agree, that you might have learned one thing from that person, or just appreciated that you were heard by that person, or that you had an intellectual conversation, an exchange with another human being. I think that all of that is valuable. but to want someone dead because of a disagreement, or belonging to a group possibly that is generating more hatred for this person based on their own personal views or personal agenda, and therefore spreading it to a group and then it gaining momentum and the whole group carrying out things like that. That is a conversation to be had. The main thing that I want to say about it, because, I'm definitely all about oneness, I'm definitely all about waking up the masses and having us all gain enlightenment. My stance on it is that this fear-based society that we live in, this society that programs us to think and feel the way that they want us to, they have something to gain from it. They are keeping you in lower densities. They are bringing your vibrations down when things like this happen. I don't think that it was just some one-off. I don't think that it was just this group that's being blamed for this kid being in it and then him taking it upon himself to go and be in this. It all like reeks of JFK and like the grassy knoll and the whole sniper situation from the building nearby the parade in Dallas where JFK was shot. Like it's all very contrived in my opinion, because it's happened so much and you can't ignore the common denominators, which is the powers that be, the powers that were, because I don't like engage in it. I'm simply giving my commentary, my opinion on it, and it might be too soon, but I did see someone else talking about this, so I'm going ahead and putting it out there. But I do think things like this are planned. I do think there's a reason that it's so highly emotionally charged and controversial and filled with hate and filled with anger and filled with people wanting revenge from both sides. It's the polarity, it's pitting people against each other, it's the whole Democrat, Republican, black, white, gay, straight, he, she, they, them. Like it's all so charged and it's built up and it's done on purpose. Every single day it gets worse and worse with the news and how they broadcast it and how they pit people against each other. And then with things like this being out there, like witnessed by so many people, with the news coverage, with Christians being pitted against non-Christians, or people that don't take the Bible at face value, that still believe in a God or a higher power, but don't live their life by the Bible, and those that are out there Bible thumping, saying that you have to do this or you're going to hell. Like it's all very charged, and when they put it on the news, when it happens in front of a large group of people, they are inciting this fear, the hate, the anger, the sadness. They feed on all of that. That is energy harvesting at its finest. They're getting exactly what they want from you, however they can get it. And this is one of the huge ways that they do it. They do it publicly, 9/11, JFK, like anything that's done out in the public, out where people can see it, where it's widely in the media, it is talked about, it is something that's very sad, it pits people against each other. These are the things that they specialize in. That's what keeps you stuck in this matrix, for a lack of a better term. I don't like using matrix only because it's from a movie, but the movie rings true. It's definitely what we're living in. And until you can wake up and realize what you're sitting in, that we're swimming in the piss that they put out there for us to live, breathe, drink, just exist in every day. That's what they want us to do, is to adhere to that fear-based, fear-mongering society. They indoctrinate us from birth with every single thing, with having your parents or whoever you're growing up around having been taught that, and then entering into the institutions, which are, church and school and the government, anything that educates you, the media, anything that educates you at all is indoctrinating you, because it's all set up to keep you in fear. It's all set up to keep you in line, to keep you aligned with their agenda, their narratives that they want to push. It's all manufactured, and it's been going on for years. This is the devil's season, and we are in year 9. 2025 comes out to 9 in numerology, and this has been said by many, many people that it is the year that people are waking up, and it's true. It is spreading like wildfire, and I love it because I want people to be able to do that on their own volition. It's going to take a trigger. There's going to be a catalyst, but I pray that people don't have to go through the trauma and the suffering and the pain like I had to do in order to get there. Now, I did wake up to a lot of the media stuff, being politically involved in my past, but people are waking up on a personal level without having to be in so much pain. Like I said, there will be a catalyst. There is something that will trigger it for them, but it is my hopes and dreams and wishes that people don't have to go through the worst of the worst to be able to open their eyes to what we've all been conditioned to think is normal, and that these tragedies aren't manufactured, that they aren't caused or controlled, that it isn't set into motion by an elite group in this country, or around the world, that wants to control how you think, how you feel, how you act. They want to keep you on with their chains around you, to bind you into that headspace, that mindset, and to not think for yourself, to not question everything, to not say, this is not right, and this has happened here, 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 here in the past. And after these things happen, they usually use it, take advantage of it as not only a way to harvest your energy and to keep you sad and angry and depressed and enraged. They want to also use it to capitalize on taking your rights away, that there will be something that comes from this that they'll use to say, this is the reason that we, as a people, we as a society, we as a group in this country do not need to be afforded this right to do blank anymore. Like, they always use something. 9/11 was huge in that. They raped us of our Bill of Rights, and they implemented the Patriot Act, and they re-up it whenever it's on the ballot so that it will stay in place, because all of that, and I struggled with that for a long time. Why would they hurt and kill so many people in order to gain this? Is it worth that? Is the trade-off worth that? Are people really that evil? And yes, they are. They are, when their soul has been corrupted by entities that are not pure. They have attachments, and that is completely on display with those that, I think I did a short on this not too long ago, about how when you provide like a vessel for God to live in, to be part of you, that you are doing the work for your body to be pure, for your mind to be pure, for you to get on your path and in your purpose, so that God can occupy your vessel and it be worthy of that occupation. Like, he's not gonna come in unless you're ready. You have to invite it in, and you are it anyway, but you have free will, so you have to make that decision. He's not going to force you to do it. So even though he is you, you can go off the rails, you can be in denial, you can completely be rogue the entire existence in this lifetime. Like, you are not going to be forced to do it. But these people that get on, I said in the short, not to get away from that people will take their own mask off, because if they try to throw mud on your name, they try to drag you through the mud, they try to create narratives and agendas to which they need your energy. They need you to participate in that for it to be successful. No matter amount of lies, they can't produce evidence that is not real without somehow you adhering to that evidence, to it being part of you, to you reacting to it, to you being in that place, time, space, to have participated in such, for you to run with certain groups, to align with them and be a part of the things that they do. Like, that's why I tell you, be very careful about who you listen to, music wise, TV, on YouTube, anything that you watch, read, that you pay attention to, you unknowingly are going to sync up with that. And you have to be very careful, because it can sneak in very easily. And you might think, well, this is not that bad. And it trickles into this. And oh, this is not that bad. And it trickles into this. And you don't know who is connected to who and who's being paid to do what. And what subliminally might be entering when you seemingly think that there's nothing wrong with it. You have to be very careful. But when people try to go out and do smear campaigns and witch hunts, they need your participation for their efforts to be successful. They need you to act in a certain way, or get you to react in a certain way that supports their narratives, that gets you in the space, in the lower densities that they are trying to participate in promoting you to be. And so if you ignore that, eventually they're going to get mad because it's not working, and they're going to end up taking their own mask off and presenting themselves as the haters that they've always been. And then they're stuck standing there holding their bag of tricks, looking like the one that tried to smear you because they just didn't like you, or they did something wrong and they were trying to cover it up and not be held accountable or receive punishment for it, or whatever the case may be, for whatever reason that they did what they did. So that's being evident in like, when people do that, they are attached. Something is attached to them that is not of God. Your discernment, which I talk about a lot, is your God detector. And when people do that, they are in the lower densities. They are vibrating very low. They want to pull people down instead of doing the work to bring themselves up. So they're going to eventually tell on themselves, but they would rather be able to bring you down and not have to work so hard on it and get the payoff that way than to do the work on themselves. So the mask is going to come off. They're eventually going to be seen for what they are, and it's not going to be deniable. They're just going to be standing there looking pretty much dumb because, the person that they wanted to get on the hook played the fool in order to catch the fool that was trying to play them. So when that happens, they're eventually they're children in adult bodies because they haven't healed. So they're gonna pitch a fit. They're gonna throw tantrums. That's gonna be the only thing that they're left to do, because they don't have very many tools in their toolbox. This is what they act out of, is the toolbox. It's low vibrational, lower densities. They talk bad about people. They gossip. They slander. They try to physically hurt people. They steal. They, are involved in lots of things like, sleeping around, drinking, doing drugs, like just all of these things that do not serve purifying their vessel. Okay, so what's residing in them? Not God, because God is in them. They are of God, but He's not running the show because they haven't invited Him in. What have they invited in? These entities, these entity attachments, these principalities are running the show until they make the decision to turn their back on that and walk away and stop giving that power, stop letting them, taking their power back, and stop letting those things run the show and rule their vessel. So it's what's happening like around the world right now when these people have and it's instant gratification, because the ones that have gotten online and have voiced publicly how happy they are that Charlie Kirk died, or they're leading protests where they're chanting these awful things, like they're doing a disservice to themselves, because for one, they're taking their mask off for everyone to see. You're showing that an entity is running the show. You are showing that you are not of God. There's no discernment to be had because they're putting it all out on display for everyone. They're taking their masks off. They're saying, I am this evil. Evil is running my vessel because I am cheering on death. I am cheering on something that is the same as me. We are one. I am Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk is me. We are the same, but separated in different bodies. And here I am saying that I'm glad that someone shot him, or all of these horrible things. I know that you guys have seen the clips if you're paying attention to this subject at all. And I don't know anybody in America or the whole world right now that isn't. So if you haven't seen it, you're living under a rock, and I would be happy to be under that rock, because it's very difficult to separate yourself from it when you don't participate in those things anymore, and it is very distasteful at the minimum, at the bare minimum. But these people that have gone out and exposed themselves to be the entity that is running their vessel are immediately getting fired from their jobs. They're losing friends. The fallout is immediate. It's instant gratification for these people. And then a lot of them are online like, why would you tell on me? Why? I wouldn't do that to anybody. But you would go and cheer on somebody's death and their assassination, and the millions of people that is affected by the lower densities, because they're not separating themselves from it. They so identify with one side or another that they are involved in some way, and it has brought their vibrations down. But yet you are upset that someone would go and tell your boss, and it was probably many people, probably wasn't just one person, and your boss might even have saw it themselves, because Lord knows us white people don't go by aliases online, where I have to say, when I was doing cakes, the majority of my clientele was African American, and very rarely did I ever know their real name, because they don't go by it on social media, and I did a lot of my orders through Facebook, so they learned the hard way. But still, you shouldn't have put it out there. You put it out there, it came back to you immediately, and you got your consequences, and a lot of it was loud. It was for people to see, and you're online whining about it, and people are taking they're feeding off of that too, because they're like, yeah, how dare you be upset? How dare you have gone and done that anyway? And then you're upset that it didn't work in the way that you wanted it to work. No one was super proud of you for getting out there and cheering on death of basically yourself, because that is you. And they're probably not taking that stance at all, but it doesn't make any sense for them to get online and start being upset, or I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills, or this or that. Well, he has 2 children that are out here. I'm sure they will be just fine, but you're not thinking for 1 second about this person in a human way. You're just being in your ego, thinking about a disagreement that you think is murder worthy, and that is just in no way justifiable. So those people, much like those that run the smear campaigns, are taking their own mask off, and then they're wounded, haven't healed their inner child, so they are children in adult bodies, and then the only tools that they have in their tool belt is to get out online or wherever that they feel the need to, or get attention for, kick and scream and pitch a tantrum like the child that they really are. Their body grew up, and they had experiences beyond childhood, but still at their core, they are a hurt child. So that's what we see when people don't get their way. That's what people see when they take their mask off and things are brought down to the very base level of their existence, which is their child. And they are not making decisions to purify their vessels, so they have given their power away to an evil demon, an entity, a principality. So it's very, very apparent. And the only way, I know that I can't break you out of the matrix. You have to do it for yourself. I can't make you wake up. You have to do it for yourself. I can't put you in the position to invite God in and purify your vessel and start walking in your path and purpose. I can't do that, nor would I want to. I want you, it's only going to be valuable to you, and you're only going to want to put in the work and see the potential in that kind of life if you make that decision for yourself. It's like working for your own money or, quitting any kind of addiction. You have to want it. You have to make that decision, and you have to put in the hard work to stick with it, or you're easily going to go back and start doing it again because you won't value the commitment. You won't value the hard work unless you're the one that decides and you're the one that puts it in. So I wouldn't want to. But in the end, because we're all one, breaking away from that and not engaging in it and not participating in this society, the way that the society is set up to be run and is running you, is running everybody that hasn't disengaged and detached from it. You have to do the work in order to raise your vibrations and to heal yourself and to do your shadow work. And in turn, you raise the collective's vibrations and the collective's existence here. And that is how we create the new earth. That is how we reach the frequencies that we need to what you would call the rapture, but it is to separate from the devil's control. His little, if you've read Revelation, then you would know he has his little period where he's in control. And to break away from that means you waking up, means you putting it, you can't just wake up and say, everybody wake up. I see it for what it is. You still have to put the work into yourself to vibrate higher, to heal yourself, to not be that child, to not let entities run your vessel, to any of those things that are low vibrational and low density, to go from the 3D to the 5D. You have to put the work in. It's all inside of you. All of the answers are inside. All of the work has to be done inside. You have to go within and connect to your higher self, which is God. It's with you all of the time. That's why you're never alone. That's why God sees and hears everything, because he is you at all times. Everything is recorded in your Akashic records, and nothing is unseen or swept under the rug or irrelevant. It is all part of the puzzle, all part of your makeup, all part of your soup that I talk about. So you have to go within and do the work, and that is how we as a collective, because you are me, I am you, I can do all the work that I want. I can come out here and tell you what to do all you want, but until you do it, until you have the catalyst and you wake up and you do it, you're not going to contribute to the collective raising the vibrations, breaking out of the 3D and transcending this, the ascension that needs to take place for us to reach that frequency that we need to break away from the devil having control over everything. The elites, the reptilians, whatever you want to call it, whatever circles that you run in, whatever name that you call it, just like there's many different names for God. But it's source. It's source. It's our existence. There is polarities, just the yin and the yang, the light and the dark. They all exist. Not one can exist without the other. You can't become who you are without first learning what you are not and shedding that, and not really shedding it. You don't get rid of it. You don't get rid of your ego. You don't get rid of your dark side. You don't get rid of those things. You have to integrate it in a way that you are able to balance it out, that you are able to focus on the good and choose the light and be the light for others going forward, to help them to do the same, and to know that if you did it, that they can do it, that it's not out of reach for anybody. I don't care how many mistakes, I don't care how many wrong roads, I don't care how many people you've done dirty. It is never too late. The catalyst might be your karma, biting you in the ass, and then you having to learn about waking up that way, because the truth will set you free. And that truth, you're never going to be able to come back from it. Once you know, you're never going to be able to go back to not knowing. So every time that you make a wrong decision, or you do somebody wrong, or you tell a lie, or you steal something, or you take drugs and drink, whatever it is that you've been afflicted by, if you know the truth, you're never going to be able to do that again in good conscience, and not some part of you not saying, you know where this got you last time. We've been down that road. We've been harshly judged and dished out consequences for this in the past. So going forward, you can't ever ignore it again. If you do, you are knowingly accepting to stay in that cycle, to keep receiving the same thing over and over again. And that doing the same thing over and over again is insanity. So if you choose insanity, you choose insanity, but at least you're going to know that you're choosing insanity, because you've been there before, probably many times, if you're choosing it again and again and again. So you have to make that choice for yourself, to wake up and to do the work, in order for us all to raise up, for them to have no control, and this matrix to not be able to bind you by those chains anymore, for us to not be affected by, and I'm not saying don't be upset by Charlie Kirk. I'm saying realize for what it is. See it for what it is, that it was manufactured. It was done on purpose. And as long as you keep fighting each other, or being angry with each other, or trying to get revenge for anything like this, you are doing exactly what they want you to do. You are playing right into their game, and that's what keeps it going. They're feeding off of you, they're energy harvesting off of you, and in the meantime, they are keeping you stuck in their little mind games that they have created, that have been going on for decades, 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 decades. And we want to break away from that as a collective. We want to not let it have control. We want to take our power back. And in order to do that, you have to let the catalyst, let this be a catalyst. Please let it be a catalyst. Don't have to go through the worst of the worst to reach that state of awareness, to where you go in and you do the work and you say, these are my fellow souls in collective consciousness. We are one. We are all in this together. And if we fight each other, if we stay angry, it is only going to take us longer to get there. So the quicker that we wake up to the things that they're doing and how it's keeping you where they want you to be. They don't want you to wake up. They don't want that. They'll lose the illusion of control that they have, and all of the money that they have, all of the things that they gain off of doing these things and doing them for so long and nobody questioning it. The longer they stay in their little season, in the devil's little season. And I call it a little season because it's almost over. There's so many people waking up that I'm just trying to encourage you to take the things that they want to use against you, that they want to use to keep you stuck. Take it and flip it. Flip the script, because it doesn't have to be that way. You can say, I see what they did and I see why they did it, and I'm not going to be a victim to these circumstances anymore. I'm going to survive this. And then I'm going to have a platform when I have woken up and I have gone in and I've done the reflection and picked it apart and I've healed myself, because you very much can, from the things that have been done to me, all the lower density things that have been done to me by my family, by society, by friends, by whoever hurt me, strangers, the government, whoever held you down and on purpose to keep you there. Why they did it. Make amends if you need to for something you did wrong. Forgive yourself and the other people that did things wrong to you. Heal yourself. Don't keep perpetuating that. Don't make it part of your generational bloodline. Don't react and don't act out in trying to get vengeance. Vengeance is God. Give it all up to Him. Anything that is too big for you to control, anything that you would want to get vengeance for, say, no, it is not mine. I give it up to God. Because the things that people say, God will never give you more than you can handle, but yes, He can, because He wants you to trust Him. He wants you to have blind faith in what He can do for you. So He wants you to say, if something is too big for you, to know that, yes, Lord, I can't handle this. I'm giving it all to you. I need your help in dealing with this. This is way too big for me. So I'm giving it to you, and you do what you're going to do in this situation. You're in complete control. I'm stepping back. My hands are clear of this. I can't do it. I need your help. So the moment that you feel like, yes, he did put too much on me, is the moment that he wants you to surrender and ask him to deal with it for you. So we need each other. We need each other, and we don't need to be fighting with each other, and we don't need to be sad for any longer than you have to be. Everybody's going to be sad. Everybody's going to feel down and hurt, especially when things like this happen. Be there for each other. Remember the things that he was good at, that he did, that he helped you with. And even if you didn't agree with him, don't let it turn to hate and anger and appreciation for someone's death, because that is you. You are bringing bad on yourself by thinking bad about someone else, because they are you. You are them. It does no good, no good at all. So try to find something nice about Charlie Kirk, even if it was just that he was part of you and you lived and walked different lives and it led you to a difference of opinion on this or that, but it doesn't mean that he needed to die. And the fact that he did die was contrived. Someone did it on purpose to get us to react and to get us to be in hate. To see that for what it is. Don't use it as a reason to create more lower density reactions, vibrations, emotions, all of those things, because that's what they want. And they don't want you to wake up and do the work on yourself so that you're smarter than them and you can beat them at their own game, because you're not going to react and do what they want you to do anymore. You know, it's like rage against the machine, but rage with love, okay? I love you. God loves you. You're never alone. And I hope that you are all finding a way to be at peace with what you're dealing with and with the things that are manufactured, because I don't want you to give them what they want and stay sad or angry or anything low vibrational any longer than you need to. Feel it, address it, give it its space, and let it go so that we can move on to bigger and better things as a collective. We are all one. I'll see you guys later. Bye.